welcome to another edition of the Blacktor Studio. Recently it dawned on me that maybe, perchance, you might want to know about my story. So I'm going to give it to you in 3, 2, 1. My mom, who's extremely artistic in her own right, when she was growing up in Trinidad and Tobago, she was actually being sought after to become a pop star. Unfortunately, her parents said no because they wanted her to get an education, West Indian background. And so when she grew up and had her 3 children, she put them all into the arts. My brother was in music, I was in dance, and my little brother was in martial arts. I started dancing when I was 3, doing jazz and ballet, and then when I was 4, I was put into the sport called baton twirling, and I did that until I was 17 years old, where, at the height of my career, I was a world champion with the King's National Baton Club. But then I quit so that I could pursue, studying to become what my mother would later tell me was a lawyer. Even though this woman was the woman who commissioned for Ontario to have a Catholic arts high school and who forced me to audition. I got in and was doing dance as my major for all of my high school years. When I graduated from high school, she reminded me, though she doesn't remember, that when I was very, very young, she sat me and my older brother down when we were about 5, 6. She sat us both down and said, "Now, you're going to be my doctor and you're going to be my lawyer." And she to this day says that never happened, but my older brother went to university to become a doctor, and I left high school thinking I was going to become a lawyer. I was taking things like history and Spanish and computer science. I also took one elective in drama, and the teacher was amazing, and I really, really loved it. Even though I wasn't going to pursue it, I was just taking the course because why not? And at the end of the school year, she sat me down and told me I was wasting my life if I didn't pursue a career in the arts. And so this amazing teacher, her name is Anna, and I really need to find her because I don't think she's teaching anymore. I've looked for her before. She called all of the schools in Ontario to see, all the post-secondary arts schools in Ontario to see if any of them were still having auditions, because she vowed that I would be going to audition for an arts program somewhere. She also randomly encouraged me to go to an audition in the winter break just to see if I would like it. And so I have to also thank this amazing woman, Stephanie Gorin, who at that time was the gatekeeper for all theater and TV and film. She was the person you had to get in front of in casting. I went to this audition, which was for The Lion King, and I sang a cappella because I didn't know any better that you're supposed to sing with an accompaniment or with an accompanist, a pianist primarily. And at the end of this, pianist with a T, and at the end of the audition, Stephanie asked me, what do I do? Like, what am I doing with my life? And I said, well, I'm going to U of T, University of Toronto, and I'm going to become a lawyer. And she said, why? And I said, because my mom wants me to become a lawyer. And she handed me her card and told me to have my mother call her because I was wasting my life and I needed to go to Sheridan College. So fast forward 4 months, and this amazing teacher, Anna, is scouring the earth of Ontario for a post-secondary art school for me to audition for, because she also thinks I would be wasting my life should I pursue a career that's not in the arts, in the performance arts. And the only post-secondary school that was still having auditions, because again, it was the end of the school year, was Sheridan College. I prepared as best I knew how. I had this one monologue from the class, and I took in, at the time, my favorite musical was Rent, and I decided I was going to sing Take Me or Leave Me, the duet, as a solo, a cappella, which I did. I went to this audition at Sheridan, which was probably the most difficult audition I've ever had to date. It was about 10 hours long, and it included things like music theory and ear training, which I'd never heard of. At the end of that day, I think I was the last person to go in that day to see Rod Maxwell, the creator of the program, and Greg Peterson. Well, firstly, Rod Maxwell said, turned his glass on the side, said, so you got like 2% on your ear training. What are you going to do about it? And I was like, I can study in the summertime. I'm not really sure. And Greg Peterson was sitting beside him and smiling at me lovingly. And I know now it was a good cop, bad cop situation. Right there afterwards, they informed me that I had been immediately accepted into the program, and I would spend the next 3 years of my life learning to sing, dance, and act in one of the most prestigious musical theater colleges in the country. And it was some of the best times of my life, and I made lifelong friendships and learned everything I know about being in this business from that program, and everything I learned about being in the business from the program, and everything I learned about having faith and believing in myself from my mom and from God. Yeah, so that's really my story, and I hope that you can follow me throughout the rest of my journey. And if you haven't yet, please subscribe.
Never miss another episode of the Blacktor Studio.
So you may be wondering why the backdrop looks a little different in some of these edits, and why I'm not wearing my bracelet anymore. Well, I filmed all this stuff, and then I decided that, or not I, but a very great person in my life shamed me into filming more things about this. I feel like I just told this story because I did. He just didn't like it. Anywho, this is what happens when you get help from your friends who aren't in the business. So don't judge me.